Have you ever wondered how some ancient civilizations amassed extraordinary wealth, while others vanished without a trace? What did they know that we have forgotten? In hidden temples, secret libraries, and timeless monuments lie records of methods that controlled the flow of prosperity, protecting their secret at all costs. But most intriguingly, these civilizations not only mastered resources, they understood something profound about energy, abundance, and influence that has never been recorded in modern books. Today, we reveal secrets that ancient civilizations hid about wealth, mysteries that challenge historians and spark the curiosity of all those seeking prosperity. Prepare for a journey where history, mystery, and wealth intersect, and each clue you uncover could change the way you see the world and your own power to create abundance. Amidst the harsh desert, among time-defying pyramids and hidden temples, some civilizations arose not only through military power or agriculture, but through knowledge that seemed almost mystical. This knowledge, protected by priests, rulers, and secret societies, allowed certain cultures to amass unimaginable riches, control resources, and shape the prosperity of entire generations. Few dared question the rules of these guardians. Their methods were considered sacred, and revealing their secrets was considered a crime against the gods and the very order of the world. Modern historians attempt to decipher inscriptions, relics, and symbols, but complete understanding remains elusive. In every ancient city, from Mesopotamia to the Nile Valley, patterns repeat themselves: strategic trading centers, storage of grains and precious metals, and structures that indicate a profound mastery of mathematics, astronomy, and sacred geometry. Nothing was left to chance. Every stone, every irrigation canal, every engraved symbol had a purpose linked to collective prosperity. But there was something even more impressive. Accounts indicate that these people understood principles that we would today call energy, influence, and resource flow. It wasn't just about gold or fertile land, it was about aligning people, ideas, and events to create sustainable abundance. The secret wasn't just possessing wealth, but maintaining balance so that it never disappeared. Some temples hid secret chambers accessible only to the initiated, containing coded records of economic techniques, barter systems, and instructions on how to predict periods of scarcity or prosperity. Over the centuries, many of these secrets were lost, looted, or destroyed, but fragments survive in indecipherable inscriptions, enigmatic monuments, and artifacts that defy explanation. And this is where the story becomes fascinating. What these civilizations knew about wealth and prosperity goes far beyond what we can imagine. It wasn't just about accumulating gold or expanding empires, but about understanding universal patterns that connect resources, people, and strategic decisions. Some scholars suggest that this knowledge, if decoded, could teach us how to create abundance even today, and perhaps reveal why certain societies thrive while others disappear. Get ready, because in the next chapters of this journey, we'll explore every clue left by these ancient masters of prosperity. You'll see how vanished civilizations can still teach us valuable lessons about wealth, influence, and power, secrets that have stood the test of time, waiting to be rediscovered. As we progress through the history of ancient civilizations, one thing becomes clear: much of the knowledge about prosperity was codified. It wasn't meant for just anyone, much less the common public. Symbols engraved on temples, inscriptions on stones, architectural patterns, and even everyday artifacts carried meanings that only the initiated understood. Every detail had a purpose, and those who deciphered these codes were able to control not only the local economy, but also the flow of resources and political influence. In Mesopotamia, for example, records indicate that certain symbols combined concepts of trade, agriculture, and astronomical cycles. Every decision from harvesting to grain distribution was tied to precise calculations and the observation of celestial patterns. This ensured not only abundance, but also social stability. Those who mastered these codes held near absolute power over the community. In Egypt, priests guarded similar secrets. The sacred geometry used in the construction of the pyramids was not merely aesthetic. It represented principles of balance and energy that, according to ancient accounts, maintained the flow of wealth within the kingdom. Certain alignments with the sun and stars indicated periods of prosperity and scarcity, allowing rulers to make strategic decisions even before crises occurred. Wealth, therefore, was not the fruit of labor or military conquest alone, but of a profound understanding of nature, energy, and the universal order. Some artifacts suggest that wealth wasn't limited to material things. Objects bearing specific symbols were used in ceremonies aimed at aligning community, leadership, and resource production. Prosperity depended on harmony between people, places, and time itself. And when this harmony was broken, civilizations faced decline, not through bad luck, but because the patterns that sustained abundance were disrupted. What's most fascinating is that fragments of these codes have survived to this day, scattered throughout the world. Forgotten ruins, hidden chambers, and ancient manuscripts offer clues to techniques that could transform the way we view wealth and power. Some scholars believe that deciphering these ancient codes could reveal methods of prosperity that would work even today. But there's an important detail: the knowledge was protected by unwritten laws, initiation rituals, and secrets passed down from master to disciple. Attempting to access it without preparation was considered risky and, in some cases, fatal. This intense protection is part of the reason why so many mysteries about ancient civilizations remain intact, as if time had sealed the most powerful secrets, waiting for the right moment to be rediscovered. As we progress on this journey, we will explore how these codes influenced economic, political, and spiritual decisions, revealing that prosperity and power are more linked to understanding universal patterns than to the simple accumulation of wealth. Each civilization left hidden clues, waiting for someone with vision and courage to decode them. And you, the viewer, will begin to see how these ancient secrets can change not only how we understand the past, but also how we can apply this knowledge to our own quest for prosperity and balance. When we examine the records of ancient civilizations, it becomes clear that prosperity wasn't simply a matter of luck or military conquests. Every society that achieved great wealth possessed structured, often secret, methods that allowed them to accumulate and preserve resources in surprising ways. Among these civilizations, some stand out for their organization, strategic vision, and understanding of the world that seems almost supernatural to us. In ancient Egypt, for example, prosperity didn't depend solely on the Nile's harvests. Priests and leaders knew when to store grain, when to redistribute it, and how to organize internal and external trade to maintain economic balance. Monuments, temples, and even hieroglyphics themselves served as records of instructions, strategies, and detailed observations about cycles of abundance and scarcity. Each stone seemed to tell a story of planning, energy, and precise control of resources. Further east, in Mesopotamia, city-states like Ur and Babylon possessed complex accounting and trade systems that included coins, contracts, and detailed records of agricultural production. But the true genius lay in the secrets hidden within these systems: mathematical patterns, astrological alignments, and coded symbols that indicated not only prosperity, but also predictions of crises and opportunities. The elite who understood these codes wielded a power that seemed almost divine, capable of shaping the economy of an entire region without the people's knowledge. In pre-Columbian America, civilizations like the Mayans and Incas also had their own mastery of prosperity. They not only cultivated abundant food, even in challenging terrain, but also created systems of tribute, storage, and distribution that maintained the stability of large populations. Every temple, every calendar, and every sacred building carried teachings about natural cycles, energy alignment, and influence on collective behavior. Prosperity and harmony were intrinsically linked, as if every decision were guided by a deep understanding of the flow of life. What unites all these civilizations is a striking pattern. The secret to wealth lay not just in gold, silver, or land, but in the knowledge of flow of energy, resources, and people. They realized that lasting prosperity required balance, strategy, and, above all, secrecy. Revealing these secrets to everyone would risk the collapse of the order that sustained abundance. And that's precisely why we study these civilizations with fascination to this day. Fragments of knowledge, enigmatic symbols, and gigantic monuments offer us clues to techniques that, if applied wisely, could teach us how to create modern prosperity. But as the ancient masters knew, the key lies in understanding the hidden patterns, decoding the messages, and respecting the principles that sustain the flow of wealth. In the following chapters, we'll delve even deeper into these methods, revealing specific stories of leaders and societies who managed not only to survive, but also to thrive amid challenges, wars, and natural disasters. Prepare to discover how ancient knowledge can transform the way you view wealth, power, and success. As we continue to unravel ancient secrets, it becomes increasingly clear that the wealth of civilizations was not the result of chance or military conquest alone. They employed specific strategies, some so sophisticated that today they seem almost magical, but which were based on observation, planning, and a deep understanding of available resources. In ancient Egypt, for example, grain storage wasn't just a practical measure. Priests studied Nile flood patterns and combined this information with astronomical observations to decide when to plant, harvest, and distribute food. This meticulous control ensured not only abundance, but also social and economic stability. Those who possessed this knowledge could influence the entire population, maintaining prosperity even in difficult years. In Mesopotamia, records suggest that the secret lay in numbers and symbols. They created advanced accounting systems with codes that indicated resource quantities, production cycles, and predicted scarcity. Furthermore, certain combinations of symbols and astrological alignments guided decisions about trade, taxes, and strategic reserves. This knowledge, closely guarded, allowed the elite to control the prosperity of entire cities without relying on brute force. Among the Mayans and Incas, observation of nature and solar cycles was fundamental. Calendars and sacred structures served as tools to predict harvests and shortages, as well as guide decisions about taxes and food distribution. Prosperity was not only material, but also social and spiritual. They understood that balance between community, resources, and natural energy was essential to maintaining lasting wealth. Another fascinating point is that these civilizations protected their secrets with systems of initiation and rituals. Only those prepared and trustworthy had access to the most powerful techniques. The security of knowledge ensured that it would not be misused and that the flow of prosperity remained intact. This care reveals something surprising. For them, prosperity was not just about accumulating wealth, but about creating a network of balance, harmony, and strategic influence. And while much has been lost, fragments of these methods survive in monuments, manuscripts, and symbols scattered around the world. They show that wealth and power are intimately linked to the understanding of universal patterns, resource cycles, natural alignments, and human behavior. Deciphering these clues today may seem challenging, but each discovery brings us closer to understanding how the ancients managed to thrive consistently, without relying on luck or oppression. In the following chapters, we'll explore specific cases of leaders and cities who masterfully applied these strategies, weathering wars, natural disasters, and political crises. You'll see how they maintained the flow of wealth and how these lessons can be adapted to the modern world, revealing that the principles of ancient prosperity are still valid and powerful even today. As we delve deeper, we begin to realize that what differentiated the most prosperous civilizations was not just strength or territory, but the application of specific secrets that, even today, seem far too advanced for their time. These secrets, often hidden in symbols, rituals, or buildings, were the key to controlling resources, wealth, and influence with surprisingly efficient means. A fascinating example comes from ancient Egypt. Temples were not just centers of worship, but veritable administrative and economic hubs. Certain halls contained coded records of the distribution of grain, precious metals, and tributes organized according to astronomical patterns. These patterns indicated the ideal time to store, redistribute, or invest resources. Those who mastered these codes could predict crises before they occurred, maintaining a steady flow of wealth. In Mesopotamia, secrets lay in symbols and mathematics. Certain numbers were considered sacred and applied to the organization of trade, taxes, and even the construction of strategic warehouses. Astrological alignments guided critical decisions about the exchange of goods and urban planning. The elite who understood these techniques held absolute power, controlling prosperity without resorting to military force. Among the Mayans and Incas, observation of natural and celestial cycles guided economic decision-making. Complex calendars indicated periods for planting, harvesting, and redistribution of resources, but also served as warnings of impending crises. Furthermore, the architecture of temples and cities reflected knowledge of energy flow, allowing the population to maintain productivity and harmony. Prosperity, for them, was both material and spiritual. Another secret common to several civilizations was the secrecy and initiationally trustworthy individuals, often prepared by years of learning, had access to the most valuable information. This system of protection ensured that knowledge was not misused and that wealth would last for generations. The very idea of prosperity was linked to responsibility, controlling wealth without disrupting patterns of balance and harmony. These examples show that lasting wealth required strategic planning, detailed observation, and understanding of invisible pattern set wasn't just about accumulating gold. It was about knowing when, how, and to whom to direct resources, as well as aligning people, time, and energy to keep prosperity flowing. In the following chapters, we'll delve even deeper into wealth redistribution techniques, resource protection methods, and lessons we can apply today. Every civilization has left hidden clues, waiting for someone to dare decode them. And you, who follow this journey, will begin to understand how these ancient secrets can transform your perspective on prosperity, showing that wealth isn't just about having, but also about knowing how to manage, anticipate, and harmonize. As we study ancient civilizations, we realize that the secrets that guaranteed prosperity were not just isolated techniques, but part of universal principles that governed abundance. These principles transcended gold, precious metals, or territories. They were patterns that connected resources, energy, and people, forming the basis of lasting wealth. One of these principles is Thebalanceth. Egyptians, Mesopotamians, and Mayans understood that lasting prosperity depended on a harmony between production, consumption, and redistribution. Surplus was not accumulated selfishly, it was calculated and directed strategically, ensuring that all sectors of society remained stable. Disrupting this balance could lead to collapse, as many civilizations discovered the hard way. Another principle is Thetiming, or the right moment. Observing natural, astronomical, and social cycles allowed civilizations to predict periods of scarcity and abundance. Storing resources at the right time, redistributing them when necessary, and investing in favorable periods ensured a continuous flow of wealth. This understanding of strategic timing was as important as possessing the resources themselves. The third principle is confidentiality and protection of knowledge. Prosperity secrets were not shared indiscriminately. Only trusted and trained individuals had access, ensuring that the techniques were not misused. This care protected the flow of wealth and maintained social order, demonstrating that prosperity and responsibility were intrinsically linked. The fourth principle is the use of integrated systems. The ancients didn't view agriculture, commerce, religion, or politics as separate domains. Everything was interconnected. Economic decisions took into account rituals, climate, astronomical alignments, and human behavior. This systemic view allowed each action to be leveraged, creating a continuous cycle of abundance. Finally, there is the principle of observation and adaptation. Civilizations continually studied natural and social patterns, adjusting their strategies as needed. They understood that prosperity is not static. It is dynamic and requires keen perception to anticipate changes and react accurately. Today, as we look back on these lessons, we realize that not only can ancient techniques be applied, but that very mentality of these civilizations can transform our perspective on wealth and success. Understanding patterns, respecting balance, applying strategic timing, protecting valuable knowledge, and integrating systems are attitudes that remain powerful in any era. In the following chapters, we'll explore practical examples of how these strategies can be reinterpreted for the modern world, revealing how ancient knowledge can still create real, tangible, and sustainable prosperity. You'll begin to realize that the secret of ancient civilizations lies not just in objects or records, but in understand and apply universal principles which connect wealth, energy, and action harmoniously. By examining historical records, we realize that the secret of ancient civilizations lay not merely in symbols, temples, or astronomical calculations. It lay in the hands of leaders who knew how to apply these principles strategically and visionarily. These leaders understood patterns, protected knowledge, and made accurate decisions that ensured lasting prosperity. In ancient Egypt, pharaohs like Ramses II not only led with authority, but also applied sophisticated resource management practices. Under their command, surplus grain was stored in strategic warehouses, redistributed as needed, and protected with systems that prevented losses. They understood that wealth is not simply about having abundance, but also about knowing how to manage it with precision and balance, ensuring social and economic stability. In Mesopotamia, kings of cities like Babylon also stood out for their ability to control the flow of resources. Using complex accounting records, symbolic codes, and astrological alignments, they were able to anticipate crises, plan trade, and distribute wealth strategically. The secret lay in observing patterns invisible to the naked eye and acting calculatedly, keeping the empire prosperous even in unstable times. Among the Mayans, leaders like Pakal of Palenque applied advanced knowledge of natural cycles and celestial alignments. Every construction, every calendar, and every ceremony had a strategic purpose, guiding decisions about harvests, tributes, and public projects. For them, prosperity was not only material, but also social and spiritual, a balance that reinforced community cohesion and civilizational stability. What unites all these examples is the practical application of the universal principles of prosperity: balance, timing, knowledge protection, integrated systems, and continuous adaptation. With understanding and applying these elements, even wealthy civilizations could decline. But leaders who mastered these strategies managed not only to survive, but to thrive for generations, leaving legacies that still fascinate historians and scholars today. These leaders also understood that wealth wasn't synonymous with ego or personal power, but with responsibility. Controlling resources meant protecting the population, ensuring stability, and preparing for the future. And this vision distinguished those who truly created prosperity from those who merely accumulated ephemeral wealth, which disappeared with the first crisis. By studying these figures, we begin to realize that the secrets of ancient civilizations can still be applied today, not as magic formulas, but as strategic principles for creating sustainable abundance. They teach us that prosperity is the result of planning, observation, discipline, and respect for universal standards, elements that remain essential in the modern world, whether in business, finance, or personal life. In the following chapters, we'll explore how ancient civilizations protected their resources and knowledge from invaders and crises, ensuring wealth flowed even in the face of extreme challenges. You'll see how these methods, applied wisely, reveal a profound understanding of abundance that transcends time. As we explore the secrets of ancient prosperity, it becomes clear that accumulating wealth was only half the equation. True mastery lay in protect and preserve these resources, ensuring that abundance would continue even in the face of crises, invasions, and climate change. For civilizations that thrived, every detail of storage, codification, and protection was carefully planned. In Egypt, for example, grains and precious metals were stored in strategic warehouses, located in hard-to-reach areas and often protected by symbolic codes or inscriptions understood only by the initiated. Beyond physical security, there was also a spiritual aspect. Temples and ceremonies served to energize and align resources, keeping the flow of prosperity intact. In Mesopotamia, records indicate that temples and palaces functioned as both administrative centers and treasuries. Complex accounting systems and coded symbols ensured that only members of the elite understood the true extent of available wealth. Any attempt at unauthorized access could be interpreted as a breach of sacred order, triggering severe sanctions. This precaution protected not only wealth, but also social stability. Among the Maya and Inca, resource protection included strategic urban planning. Storehouses of food, metals, and valuable goods were built in discrete locations, often underground, and organized to allow quick access in times of need while also protecting them from invaders. Furthermore, societies implemented systems of rotation and redistribution, ensuring that surpluses were not wasted and that prosperity was maintained even during periods of scarcity. Another recurring method was the selective transmission of knowledge. The secrets of wealth management, resource alignment, and strategic planning were taught only to trusted and qualified individuals, creating a network of guardians of prosperity. This approach reinforced the continuity of wealth and prevented valuable knowledge from being lost or misused. The crucial point is that these civilizations understood that lasting prosperity requires protection and intelligent planning. It's not enough to accumulate resources. It's necessary to ensure they flow safely and strategically, preserving both material value and social and energetic balance. They knew that any oversight could result in collapse, and many witnessed this reality when wealthy civilizations were destroyed by invasions, mismanagement, or natural disasters. In the following chapters, we'll explore concrete examples of societies that masterfully applied these preservation techniques and how these methods can still inspire modern strategies for managing wealth and prosperity. You'll see that ancient secrets are not just historical curiosities, but true lessons in intelligence and strategic vision, ready to be applied in our contemporary world. Even with all the secrets, techniques, and protective systems, no civilization was immune to crises. Wars, climate change, invasions, or internal errors continually tested their ability to preserve wealth and prosperity. And it was precisely in these moments that ancient secrets proved most powerful or, when misapplied, revealed fatal vulnerabilities. Ancient Egypt, for example, faced periods of drought and low Nile water that could have triggered widespread famine. However, thanks to strategic planning, distributed storehouses, and knowledge of natural cycles, authorities were able to effectively redistribute resources, maintaining social balance and ensuring prosperity even in adverse times. The secret lay in continuous observation and preventive action. In Mesopotamia, cities like Babylon faced invasions and internal disputes. The ability to protect strategic resources and keep secret records allowed the administrative elite to maintain control over the economy and society. Those who understood the ancient codes and symbols were able to maintain stability longer, while regions that lost access to these secrets quickly faced decline. Among the Maya, entire civilizations suffered from periods of prolonged drought and internal conflict. Leaders who applied the principles of balance, timing, and resource redistribution managed to preserve their cities for generations, while others who failed to adapt their systems succumbed. Here, it becomes clear that prosperity is not static. It requires adaptation, vigilance, and the strategic application of knowledge. Another important point is that these crises also reveal the universality of ancient secrets. Regardless of the continent or era, techniques of observation, planning, resource protection, and alignment of people with energy and resources were fundamental. What changes is how each civilization applied these strategies, adapting them to their local reality, climate, culture, and available technology. These lessons show us that lasting prosperity depends not only on material wealth, but on wisdom to manage, protect, and adapt resources in the face of adversity. Civilizations that understood and applied these principles survived and prospered. Those that ignored or forgot the ancient secrets disappeared, leaving only ruins and hidden lessons to be decoded centuries later. In the following chapters, we'll reveal how these secrets can be reinterpreted for the modern world, showing that the ancient principles of prosperity balance, timing, protection, and adaptation remain extremely relevant. You'll see that the wisdom that sustained entire empires can be applied today, not as a historical curiosity, but as a practical guide to creating sustainable abundance in your own life and business. After exploring the temples, symbols, leaders, and strategies of ancient civilizations, we begin to realize that the secrets of prosperity are not trapped in the past. On the contrary, the principles that maintained wealth and stability thousands of years ago can be applied today if we understand the logic behind them. The first step is to understand that prosperity is not just about having resources, but manage, protect, and direct these resources strategically. Just as the Egyptians observed the cycles of the Nile and the Mayans studied the solar calendar, we too can observe patterns in our finances, businesses, and relationships to make smarter decisions. Timing is everything. Knowing when to invest, when to save, and when to redistribute is key to creating lasting abundance. The second principle is that ancient civilizations thrived because they maintained harmony between production, consumption, and redistribution. In the modern world, this can mean balancing income and expenditure, work and rest, one's own resources, and collaboration with others. Sustainable prosperity requires attention to flow, ensuring that nothing is wasted, and that every action has a strategic purpose. The third secret is protection and confidentiality of knowledge. Storing valuable information and applying it carefully prevents losses and ensures continuity. Ancient leaders transmitted teachings only to trusted initiates. Today, this translates into planning, studying, and applying knowledge strategically, protecting resources and decisions. The fourth principle is the systemic vision. Like ancient civilizations, we must integrate different areas of our lives and businesses. Finances, relationships, learning, and health do not exist in isolation. Each decision influences the whole, and understanding this pattern allows us to create a continuous cycle of prosperity. Finally, adaptation and continuous observation are essential. Nothing remains static, and surviving civilizations have known how to adjust their strategies according to climate change, invasions, or internal crises. Today, this means being alert to changes in the market, opportunities, and relationships, adjusting actions to maintain the flow of abundance. By applying these principles, we can reinterpret ancient secrets into modern actions, strategic planning, pattern analysis, resource protection, balancing production and consumption, systems integration, and adapting to change. The wealth left by the ancients lies not only in gold or silver, but in timeless wisdom that sustained entire empires. By understanding and applying these teachings, you begin to see opportunities where there was previously uncertainty. You discover how small strategic actions can generate big results, and how the flow of prosperity depends on both intelligent management and a clear vision of the future. In the next few moments, in the conclusion, we will consolidate these lessons and prepare you to apply these secrets in your own life. We will transform ancient knowledge into modern action, creating not only wealth, but also lasting, aligned, and strategic prosperity. Now that we have explored the secrets that ancient civilizations hid about wealth, it becomes clear that prosperity is not just about luck or material resources, but wisdom, strategy, and long-term vision. Observing patterns, protecting what is valuable, balancing resources, and adapting to change are universal principles that endure through time. Civilizations that applied this knowledge prospered, those that ignored it disappeared. And the good news is that you can apply these lessons today, too. Plan your decisions carefully, observe patterns around you, protect your resources, and align your actions with your long-term goals. Modern prosperity demands the same attention and strategy that sustained entire empires. If you want to keep discovering secrets of wealth and prosperity that can transform your life, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with those seeking knowledge and success. Together, we will unravel more mysteries of the past to create abundance in the present.